Alright guys, it's great to be back, actually kind of doing this again. Driving home from work, talking to my camera. You know, it's pretty good to be back. Been out for a little bit with COVID. Anyways, let's continue the content as I ride home from work. 3 jobs with 1 bonus that I personally do not feel you should have while you are going to nursing school. And I feel that these jobs are not as beneficial as other medical jobs. I also feel, and I'll explain various other reasons why these jobs are not necessarily beneficial if you're going to be a nurse, if you're going to nursing school. In full disclosure, I went to school with individuals who did one of these jobs. So the 3 jobs that I'm going to mention and the full bonus, there was at least one person in my class that did have that job as their job while in nursing school. So let's go ahead and start it off. The last video I had where I talked about the highest grossing medical job you can have with just a high school diploma, the dialysis tech, the CCHT, whatever you want to call it. Why is this not very beneficial if you're in nursing school? A couple of different reasons. A lot of these dialysis clinics, these dialysis units, operate on hours that are not conducive to nursing school. They operate on hours where they typically open somewhere around 5 a.m. and then close around 5 p.m. At least here locally, there are 24-hour dialysis units. Typically, they're found in hospitals. But another thing about the dialysis tech or the CCHT is you work while you're on the clock. I mean, you work hard. You really don't have time to set your stuff down and study for a minute as a dialysis tech. You really don't. You are working very hard that entire shift. This shift is very hard and a lot of hours. Now, you do get days off, which is beneficial, but you don't really get that time. Whereas if you're a CNA, you can ask a nurse, hey, how do you explain this? As a dialysis tech, you're not going to get that. You do have nurses you work with, but you are so busy, you're probably not going to be able to ask them anything. Like I said before, I did go to school with people who were techs and dialysis techs and went to nursing school and did make it, but I don't think that it's very ideal. The conditions are hard. You have to work while you're on that unit, and you have to work hard while you're on that unit, and you work a lot of hours. Like I said, some of these places open at 5 and then close at 5. And then you've also got startups where people have got to get the waters ready and the baths ready. And some of those people get there as early as 2 a.m. Some of those techs get there that early. So if you're looking to nursing school, I would shy away from the dialysis tech. Although if you're looking for a beneficial career with just a high school diploma, maybe that's your calling. Number 2 on my list is a surgical tech. A surgical tech. Why is this also on my list? So, surgical tech made the list of jobs not to have due to the fact that while you're at work, you are at work. You're typically scrubbed up, you're gowned up, you're sterile. You do not have the benefit of asking someone to explain something to you with a book in front of you. You're typically going to have someone on the table in front of you in some sort of sterile procedure. You're not going to have the time at work to stop and say, hey, can you help me with this? The nurses that you will have, that you will be working with as a surgical tech, will be very intelligent. Those nurses are very skilled and very intelligent, and they are very good in the ways of surgery, but you're not going to get the med-surg experience that a lot of nursing school is. The surg techs work long hours, just like the dialysis techs, and it's just not as beneficial as a phlebotomist or a CNA, where you're going to have someone on the floor to where you can just ask right then. You can say, hey, explain this to me, please. So, number 2, surg tech. Number 3, and this one, I could see it going both ways. I decided to put it on this list. It's an MOA, medical office assistant. Why did I put this on this list? A lot of, at least locally, the MOAs work up front in the office, sort of the reception area. Not all of them, but a lot of them work up front in the reception area, and they are not really able to go back into the clinic itself or the doctor's office itself to talk to the nurses or the staff about questions that they may have. A lot of these MOAs work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever it may be, typically hours that you're going through school. And so while you're through school, these hours are office hours, basically, unless you get some sort of weekend clinical rotation. You're not really going to benefit as an MOA as much as you would, again, a phlebotomist or a CNA or even a pharm tech. You're just not going to be able to obtain the information as an MOA that you would in other careers. So, bonus, and this one actually made the bonus as to best jobs to have for nursing, CMA or RMA. Why is this? Simply because of the hours that you work. If you've already gone through the school to become a CMA, you already, at least locally, have 1 year of a degree under your belt. You have to have a degree in order to be a CMA here. Now, you can kind of be an RMA. That's a little bit of a tricky story, but you can't just become a CMA. You have a 1 year degree already, so you already know how to do the work, but then you still have to work. A lot of these CMAs, unless you're at sort of a weekend urgent care, work regular hours during the week, which is a prime time for school. So, the CMA I would shy away from as well, but I would also encourage sort of a catch-22, because the knowledge that you're going to bring into nursing school as a CMA is tremendous. If you could step down and do like weekends, that would be beneficial. Now, of course, there are non-traditional learning facilities, thinking sort of like these the schools that are ECPI, the for-profit schools. ECPI is definitely the one that comes to mind. I think it's the biggest. Anyways, there are definitely non-traditional learning schools, online schools, that you can do on your own time. I would shy away from them. I would stick with the traditional, in the class, work as a CNA or a phlebotomist or a pharm tech, and work your way through nursing school that way. These are, of course, my picks, and as I said, I did go to school with 4 individuals that work each one of these jobs through nursing school, and they made it as well. So, just because I'm saying these are non-beneficial doesn't mean that you can't do it anyways. Hope it helps. Thank you much.